Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, what more do you say? Coming up. Yeah. Come on, yeah. Come up now. Come on, stop me. Come on, you coming up.
Hey, everybody. OMG. Guess what? It is Tuesday. Hop series is on. We are here. We are together again. We have been apart for 3 weeks now? Seems like.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. It has been a minute. We hope that everyone is doing well. We want you to tune in, log in, share this out, share this broadcast. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We need to share it out to let other people know that we are on. We have an amazing topic for today. So much going on with the House of Peach. We are excited. We are winding up this year, coming to the end of 2023, about to cross over into 2024. So much has taken place this year. So many wonderful things, like me meeting Morgan. Well, not physically meeting, but
not yet.
Having her, we haven't met physically, but we have met, and having us to do this show, this podcast together, to meeting Peach, to meeting Smack, to becoming a part of this amazing thing that's going on with House of Peach. Hey, share this out. Do not, y'all, I'm telling you, if you haven't watched any other episode we've done, which I know you have, you need to watch this one and you need to share this. This topic is straight fire, and I have to give all the credit to my girl Mo. I'm gonna start calling you Mo. I like.
Yes, it's like my friends call me Mo, so that's a good thing.
Okay. So she is the one that came up with this topic, and woo, I'm telling you, when I read it, I was like, ooh, that really hits home for me. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss. So if you are interested in coming on tonight to join us on the panel, because we have several people that are going to be in and out or stay on, however they so choose, then you need to comment. I'm looking at my page. I know Morgan's looking at her page. So we can send you the link, so you can come in and give us your take on the topic. The topic is, what do you do when the person that you're in relationship with is hindering your success or your growth? And that could be anywhere. That could be spiritually, that could be naturally, that could be in business, that could be in whatever that encompasses. What do you do when you're connected to those people and they're hindering it? I'm telling you, I can't wait to get my little 2 pieces and my little 2 cents and put in there. Because this is let me lay some house rules. This is a no judgment zone. Everybody's opinion is their opinion. We want you to be honest. We want you to be open. We're going to discuss it. We're not going to, we don't do that here. This is about inspiring. This is about hearing other people's perspective, which is why for the He Said, She Said, we want men and women to be on, because we want to hear from both sides of the coin, right? We don't want to just hear it from the women's perspective and the men are saying, well, that's not how I do it. Okay. I want you to come on. We want you to come on so you can tell us how you would do it, what you would say, how you would handle it. So that's what we do. The last Tuesday in, all right, thank you. The last Tuesday in every month is our He Said, She Said segment. And it's always great. It's always great. So, Morgan.
Yes, I'm going to give y'all a little background as to how we got here. And look, when I say thank God for like Facebook memories and stuff, because sometimes stuff just like kind of comes up and I'm like, ooh. And I honestly, for me, I look at it as, has there been any growth? Sometimes I will post something and I remember I ended a relationship because I had posted something and 3 years later, the situation was still the same.
Wow.
And so that showed me, yes, the same day, same person, I was feeling the same exact way. and it was not favorable for continuing a relationship. And I was like, okay, so in 3 years, there has been zero growth. So what exactly is this telling you, Morgan? And go from there. So
Right.
a lot of people are like, oh, these Facebook memories, but sometimes they yield some good stuff. So 12
Yeah.
years ago, okay, 12 years ago, I had posted and I said, he seems to be thought provoking this morning. I had a love hate relationship with Michael Baston. Okay. Back in the day. Sometimes he's very controversial. Other times he's very thought provoking. Obviously, he was thought provoking this day. So he says, is the person that you're dating or married to, and we can obviously open this up for business as well, because that definitely applies to helping or hindering your success. Staying together through thick and thin should be everyone's goal, but not at the price of not living up to your potential. Too often, we mistake our partner's insecurities for love. There is nothing that will make a person hold on tighter than realizing that the person they love is growing out of them.
Wow. Wow. Oh my.
Yes, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to discuss it. We have guests coming in. Hey, Charla, I see you. Thank you for joining. Share this out. Let people know that we are on. Okay, so let's dive right on in. We have guests on. Repeat that. Come on in.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Okay, give me 1 second because now I got to go back to it again. I went to go check and make sure I wasn't missing anything. Okay, so it says, is the person that you're dating, married to, working on a business with, helping or hindering your success? Staying together through thick and thin should be everyone's goal, but not at the price of not living up to your potential. Too often, we mistake our partner's insecurities for love. There is nothing that will make a person hold on tighter than realizing that the person they love is growing out of them. Definitely.
Oh my. Well. So we have our first guest. We have Mike and Stacy Massey. Oh my God.
Hello.
I love Stacy.
Hello, everybody.
My sister, my brother, and they just got married.
Yes.
What was that, August, right? That was in
August.
Yes, late August.
Nice.
Oh,
Congratulations,
well,
newlyweds. Love
Thank
it.
you.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
So we are happy that you guys decided to come on and weigh in on this topic because we just want to hear from both sides. And I'm not gonna. I will give my story and do my part last, but we want to know, what do you guys think? So I don't care who goes first. Stacy, you could go. Mike, you can go. What are your thoughts?
Okay.
I'm gonna let my wife go first.
Thank you so much.
All right. Listen, I'm gonna let my wife go
Yeah.
first.
That's a nice ring, right? My wife, right?
My
Yes,
wife,
I
right?
like it. Thank you, honey. So first and foremost, thank you so much for inviting us and having us on. It is so good to see you, beautiful ladies, again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for, just allowing us to come to be a part of this conversation. We're excited about that. One thing I have to say, in my relationship experience is, sometimes you can be in a relationship with someone and they can be hindering your growth a lot, but not know it. And they can kind of take you for granted, right? You're trying to work it out. You're trying to express to them what it is that you believe that you need that's going to make the relationship work. What I've learned is the first thing to do is to communicate. Whenever you're actually having these issues. In my last relationship, some of the issue was gambling, and not feeling as though I was being assisted consistently when it came to taking care of the bills. Sometimes they did help, sometimes they did not help. But what happened was, it not only was it affecting us financially and putting us in debt, but it was also affecting me emotionally, because then there's arguing, And instead of focusing on going forward and focusing on other things, we're arguing about certain things that didn't get paid, right? So it was a huge hindrance. And I kind of felt as though we would sometimes talk about what we were going to do and how we were going to fix it. And then, I saw that it was good for a short while. And then the next thing I know, we had those same issues again because there was no change.
Mm.
So the first thing I say is communicate with the person, let the person know this is what I'm experiencing. It would make me feel better if you did this, right? Um, then I would say give the person the opportunity to change, if it's something that can be changed, because sometimes, it just can't be changed, and see if they are changing, give them grace, give them mercy, pray for them, because we can't change anybody. Only I feel like only God can change a person. Even God, as He's working on us, He's showing us ourselves, and then we have to come into agreement with God that we are actually going to make the change. And in changing, I would say maybe get some counseling if necessary. If you can get the counseling, and if the counseling is going to help, because sometimes certain people don't want to go to counseling, they don't want people in their business, and if they don't want people in their business and they don't want to get the counseling, then where else are you going to go, so that way you guys can get that assistance. Unless you check in maybe with a family member or a friend that can kind of help to keep you guys accountable. And again, I would say really check in on that person, to have those conversations, to say, hey, this is changing, this is not changing. And if it's not working, I would just say exit after that, but definitely give the person a chance.
Now, let me ask you a question. How long did you stay in that particular relationship that you're talking
I
about?
stayed in that relationship off and on for like about 17 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
That's
and
why
that
we
is,
just got married.
oh, you got jokes.
So what you're saying is that you were committed to trying to make it work,
Mhm.
but in the end, you kept coming up short. And my previous one that is on the lines of this, I was in for 12.
Mhm.
So I get it, trying to do those things. And when you have exhausted everything that you can, then you got to make a decision. It's me or them.
Mhm.
It's my peace and my sanity, or am I just going to stay in this and deal with it?
Mhm.
I think there's a lot that
You gotta.
comes with that too, with that thought process, and I think that's why there are years and years of that, because especially when it is a marriage or even a partnership where there's a lot to lose on both ends. You want to make sure that you're not just jumping ship. You know what I mean? I know that my abandonment issues have had me like jump out before I probably should have. Like you said, give them time to change. So I know that in
Right.
previous relationships, if I was at fault for anything, it was not giving enough time and enough grace for them to be able to do that. But I've also been
Mhm.
like, both of you guys in a long-term relationship where it's like, okay, so how do I get off this rat race? Because this is not working for me. And not feel like you're giving up, or that you haven't given it enough time. And especially when you have, I mean, shoot, I just had a conversation with my mother-in-law as far as like divorce and stuff in general. And, we were talking scriptures and different things. And it's like, so, should you divorce a person? Should you not? Is God going to, still bless you even after you have severed that relationship? I believe in the permissive and the perfect will. But at the same time, like I said, that rat race, you talk a little bit about that and the decision process that you went through to say, okay, you know what, I'm getting off of this. Like, there really is no change.
I would say in regards to the whole rat race, listen, there was a Stacy before she got saved who was in the rat race, who was cussing and fighting, and very angry, and then when I got saved again, it was like, okay, then I had my church mother involved and, teaching me how to give grace, how to pray, how not to say certain things, because sometimes we can kill a person with our mouth, right? We know that there is an issue going on. We know that we're angry, right? And instead of us saying certain things to that person, we've got to kind of like give that compassion, or take it to God in prayer. And I'm going to humble myself and say that a lot of going to God in prayer has truly helped me in my marriage now, right? Because I've had to learn not to say certain things. I may think that, and sometimes God will show me that I'm wrong and show me that Mike is right.
I'm sorry, I was just laughing at his face.
He's like, okay, thank you, God.
So I do. So although it was a rat race, it was a wonderful training ground for me. It was a training ground for me to get some deliverance from me. Me learning to calm down, me learning not to always think I got to fight the battle, because hey, sometimes the battle is not mine, right? I mean, I made suggestions in regards to saying, okay, hey, I think this should happen. And I was very aggressive, right? Because I thought that I was right. But if something is very deep grained in him, which was the gambling, he believed in, hey, I believe that this can work. I believe that I can do this. And then he also had his mom, so, with all of that going, there was really no support of someone saying, listen, you need to stop this, coming from his end. So what I'm going to say is, prayer, just constant prayer, me praying to God, because I wanted us to stay together because we had a child in common. And then also too, I thought I was the savior, always saving him from, making the bad choices and fixing things, but God is the one who got me out of that by moving me to California. Because honestly, it was very difficult for me to get out of it. Because even after we broke up, we were still living together. We were still friends. So it was truly God who just delivered me from that situation.
Oh, interesting.
Well, we have had another guest to join us, my very good friend and sister, Prophetess Kemiata Sparks. Where
Another
we're going to be in prayer for her husband. Yes, Mike, another prophet. We're going to be in prayer for her husband because he is under the weather and has had some issues, but we are praying for a speedy recovery and he gets well. So thank you so much for joining us. Now I'm going to put my little in with what Stacy was saying, and then we're going to let Mike talk, and then we're going, because Mike, you haven't said anything yet.
I'm good. I want to let everybody else talk because I took this question a totally different way.
I can't wait to
Okay.
hear.
Well,
Yes.
I would like to hear how you took that. But for me, with the rat race, you were talking about the rat race and going through the motion. I went through the process of, okay, I'm going to give you an opportunity. Let's go to counseling. Let's go to therapy. We did that. But like Stacy said, something she said was really key that I dealt with is it will be okay for a few days and then it will be back to the same old way. So you end up going, you giving me you're stringing me along. And then I knew that it wasn't going to be anything. But for me, the moment that I knew, like, I have got to get out of this is when it started affecting my health. Like, my hair was falling out. My blood pressure was through the roof. Migraines every single day for 2 weeks straight. I went to the doctor. She was sitting there looking at me like, okay, I got to figure out what to do with you. Because it was between medicating me or putting me in the psych ward, because that's where it was leading to. And that's when I knew, okay, I got to get out of here. And then too, people can be so manipulative. And my relationship with God is real, it's serious. And if you tell me that God said this, I'm not going to say, no, he didn't, because I don't know for a fact that he said it or not. So that was used to manipulate me, to make me stay. And it wasn't until I realized, wait a minute, there's a continual cycle here. When I say I'm done and we need to go our separate ways, all of a sudden now you got a revelation you heard from God saying this, like, really? But I found that even in me doing that, I was stagnant, both spiritually, because I saw what was being done spiritually. I saw what was being done naturally. And it wasn't until I made the decision, like, you know what, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm break free. that God just started opening up stuff, just ridiculously. When they say open the window, you don't have room enough to receive. Like I was like, where's this stuff coming from? And he told me, God told me himself, I will never forget this as long as I live. He said, I could not give this to you then because he would have squandered everything I wanted to bless you with.
Yes.
Wow.
Remember how we talked about how sometimes your obedience is tied to other people's blessings? It's the same exact thing in that kind of situation. You were literally holding up your own blessings, trying to still, your heart was in the right place. Your intentions were in the right place as far as trying to make sure that you were hearing from God and you were doing the right thing. And then also honoring the commitment that you had made. But at the same time, it's like, well, where does this end? Because I know that this is not what he has for me either. So to be able to then open up to do that, that's huge.
Yeah, I got a whole story, a whole book is coming from that. All right. Y'all, I'm telling you, that book is in, I'm actually writing that book right now. Mike, thank you so much for coming on. And Jason has joined us. Jason, thank you for being on with us. We're going to let you and Kenyatta talk in a minute. But Mike, so you said you got a totally different interpretation from this question. What did you think about this?
So here's my challenge to the question, and by listening to y'all talk. So whether it is a relationship, a friendship, whatever it is, when you start talking about someone else hindering you, I don't think someone else can hinder you when you are totally focused and you have your mind made up to get a thing done. Because now you have set yourself, you set your goal. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to let nobody stop me. I got to get this done by a certain date. You got the whole rundown. Am I going to allow somebody to hinder me from something that I purposely want to do in my heart? No. Not good.
Okay. Well, what if you have this tenacity that you're talking about and you're laser focused and you're going to get this done, but they're doing something that you have no control over and it is yet still hindering you. So then how do you deal with that?
But the thing about it is we only can do what we allow people, what we allow people. If you allow it, then it's going to get done. What do you do when the enemy bother you?
You go into warfare prayer.
You rebuke him to them.
Yes.
Okay, well here, I'm gonna throw this in here.
Come on. Come on, we gonna talk tonight.
Yeah. So listen, I know of a couple that was married, I don't know, probably a good 40, at least let's just say 30 plus years. So 30 plus years. Okay. The husband, they very much into the word. So as far as their understanding or how they operated their relationship, he was very much the head of the household. She took submission very seriously. And so through the years, she watched him make decisions that she didn't necessarily agree with. She brought that to the table, but this was still a man who did what he felt was best. So then in the end, it didn't end up being favorable for them. So let's just say, they were selling a house. Now they're about to sell this house. And because she didn't agree with all of the other things that he was doing, by the time they sell the house, they don't have a pot or a window. So now are we looking at the wife going, you should have said more, or you should have thrown submission out the window? Or where exactly? Because now she's in a place where they're both homeless. She didn't agree with what he had said or what the thought, the plan was. And so now they're over here now trying to scramble to do something that could have been avoided had he had listened. So now this wasn't something specifically where we can say, the wife, how did the wife fault? What was done directly affected her, but she didn't She didn't do anything. She was submissive to her husband and what he decided to make, the decisions he decided to make for the family as a whole.
So for me, submission doesn't mean be stupid.
I agree. But but here's the other thing.
I understand what you're saying, but
yeah, because sometimes you don't necessarily know. You know what I mean? Something might be like, this doesn't really seem right. So you bring that up. You don't know what doesn't seem right about the situation, but it just ain't gelling with you. You say that, but then they, still are making whatever kind of decision.
So as a man, you can be the man of the house, you can be the head of the house and all that stuff, but you still have to include your wife in your decision making.
Amen. Yeah. I agree 200%.
And if you're not agreeing, go ahead. I heard her voice in there.
Go ahead, Jason.
No, because I totally agree with what Morgan said. You know what I'm saying? I also agree with Mike said. Because, sometimes you can have a plan. Say, for instance, I'm going to go back, like for me in my past. When I was married, starting the trucking business I was in, I had a vision for it. And I explained the vision to her. And, I just paid attention to the question that was, asked, I'm saying, that was, would a person hinder you from your success? Yes. I can agree with that because, from my experience, when I shared it with her about the vision that I had for the trucking business, she said, "Oh, I don't want anything to do with that." You see that's a difference right there. You see what I'm saying? Because my mind was already made up.
So if you have someone that you share that with and they just flat out tell you what happened. Oh, we lost Jason. They flat out tell you that they don't want any parts of it. And that this is a vision that you've had. It could be God-given, whatever it may be. What do you do with that? Because now they're not going to be a help to you and you don't know what they're going to possibly do to be a hindrance. So what do you do with that? Prophetess Sparks, are you on? I know she had to turn her camera off. Maybe she had to step away. Well, let's talk about that until. There you are.
Hello. I was listening to look, he trying to get
Hello, Apostle. I see you.
Yeah, he's not feeling well, but he is just trying to get in here. He was like, "Please tell her I'm so sorry."
No, you're good.
I was
there will be
listening
others
to
that you can be on.
the couple and the man of God talking about the trucking business and that type of deal. Well, and I heard the woman of God talking about listening to her husband because I totally agree with that. And submissiveness does not mean that I submit to my husband, he does not submit to me, in certain aspects. But when I was able to actually successfully go back to school and really almost less than 4 years, 3 years, he said to me, the Lord is just saying it's time for you to go back to school. And I was like, I really had a problem with it because I felt like I was supposed to be working and, me and him supposed to be making that money, grinding together and, stacking paper. And he was like, "No, you're not, you don't have to work." And I would always be trying to I was like, "Hey, I got this job." And he'd be like, "Why?" And it wasn't that he was trying to say I couldn't. He was just saying, focus on this. And I really wrestled with him back and forth, thinking in my mind, I had to be working. And I had to get on my knees and pray about it. Why? Because I was being just so defiant about it, just head set on thinking I needed to do this. But when I began to pray about it, I remember one day I was like, going to Publix, picking up some groceries or whatever. And I was sitting in the car mumbling, talking all kind of junk. And the Holy Spirit just put me on pause. And he said, "You have got to go back and apologize." Because I was the one who gave this to him. to say to you. And he had said to me, when I come back home, baby, have all that stuff lined up. What are you going to do? Because I love the medical field, but I also love teaching. So I was like, ooh, kind of torn between the two. And I remember saying, you know what, I'm just going to go on and do teaching. And I went, and he was like, I kept saying, I won't be able to, it's not going to work out. I owe a couple of loans. And I was just, all these reasons. He said, you haven't tried. You haven't picked up the phone, And he wasn't lying. I ain't picked up the phone.
Right.
So I picked up the phone, I chose a school, picked up the phone, blah, 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 blah. Boom. I was accepted. Everything worked out.
Wow.
And the Holy Spirit said, apologize to your husband. And he started exposing me in a way that only the Holy Spirit can do. My husband exposed me, not in an embarrassing way, but you have to understand from both ends, your spouse is like the face of Christ.
Yeah.
He digs into me. I do the same with him.
Cultivate.
It dig all that stuff that you felt like you were good. I felt like I was healed from or delivered from, or I'm good, I'm free. I have times where I have to sit and assess and go, God, he just called me out. He called me out. And it hurt my feelings, but in reality, I realized that I was not doing the right thing, or that was not the right way to address it, or the way I said it. I was a single woman for several years, and I did like what I wanted to. So coming into a marriage, and he was like, babe, why are you going to get groceries at 12 midnight? And I'm like, cause I want to. And he was like, no, you messing up my thing. Like, I need to protect you, and 12 midnight's not a good time, And he's not like, what you doing? That for me, I was thinking I could just do that. And I heard the man of God talking about the vision, the trucking. He had a vision board about a trucking company and that type of thing. When I first met my husband, and I'm sharing this because I heard that, you got, it has to be something that you all have to, it has to be something that really comes together with he started sharing his visions, things that the Lord had been giving him for years. And I was sharing things with him, but he would share things with me, and my belly would leap like I had a newborn, a baby in my womb. That's how much, when I would hear it, I'd be go, ooh, and I say, hey, let's get on it. And so we were moving like that before we even married. And he would share all this stuff, and I would be like, oh my goodness. And I would say, hey, this is what I think I want to do. And he'd be like, okay, good. That's awesome. And so when I heard the man of God talking about the vision board, and she was like, she didn't want to be, the wife was saying she didn't want to be a part of it, his trucking company or what have you. Listen, my husband has a photography business. Okay. And I can't take near picture. I'm from the South. Can't take near picture. But I try to jump on board wherever I felt like he needed me. Sometimes he say I do too much because I had to pose it for an hour and a half. He was like, the time running over, they time out. That's all they paid for, But I just try to jump in wherever he needs me. And I don't feel any type of way, because there are things that I have also, but we took some time to merge all that we have together, align all that we have together. We took that time to, he'd be like, well, you got this. I was like, but you got that, but we took time to merge those things. And I don't feel any type of way. And I don't be like, oh, that's whatever. That's his stuff. He cooks on the grill. It is his stuff. I cook. And guess what? I take a part of that by tasting. You know,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? And I don't, and I'm not jealous. And he enjoys it. That is his peace. But you know, when I heard the man of God saying that, you know, the spouse was like, yeah, whatever, that's your thing. I have anything that he has said he wanted to do, or even vice versa. He, you know, we just talked today. I said, oh, you know what? You should just go forward and do it. I think it'll be a great thing. Why? Because there are times where even before we were married that he was hindered, but I'm in tune enough with my husband to understand that there's some things that he has a freedom that he didn't have before. So if he want to run with it, I'm running with it, and vice versa.
Mhm.
Is the photography business that belongs to my husband, but we do this as a team. He could
Mhm.
call a second shooter for an event. But guess what he gonna do? He gonna take his other camera and say, "Babe, let me show you how to put, and then that's it. Why? Because we're a team.
Mhm.
We're together. We get compliments. We went to a wedding out in the garden, like what? Right after COVID, right? Right after COVID, 4th of July, and we were sick. Had just been cleared, and we went to a wedding, beautiful wedding. And I knew he had to be a man of God, but he watched us move around so much. And he said, I don't know what it is. He said, are y'all married? I said, yes, sir. He said, gosh, I've never seen two people work as a team. I said, well, we consider it a job. Yes, we're married. Well, we consider it a job, and we just want to make sure we're doing what we need to do. I just fill in the gaps. He has the eye, and sometimes I see things, but he sees it. He has the eye. Even in the whole relationship, there his eyes, my eyes, vice versa. There's something we are able to see that maybe the other person does not see. And you know,
Mhm.
sometimes we be like, no, you know, and then later on it's like, you know what, you saw that.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
So it's like
Right.
sometimes you can hinder your own self or hinder your own relationship in not taking the ego out of the situation. And I feel like that's
Mhm.
exactly where it's Michael, right? Stacey, your husband
Mhm.
Stacey.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I was like,
Oh
yeah,
Right.
that Michael was saying, because I was like, I definitely get when you say like there shouldn't be anybody that should be able to hinder what you're doing. But as you know, James was saying, like there are folks who are out here who will sabotage their stuff. I have a really good friend who, you know, his ex-wife literally tried to sabotage his food business. Would
wow.
do everything from
Wow.
call the food, you know, folks to, you know, mess up, you know, uh, an appointment that he had, whatever the case may be. And it got to a place where he literally had to work two jobs
Mm.
just to
Wow.
keep his food business
Wow.
going. And it wasn't until he completely severed that relationship. He's now,
Mm.
you know, with his new wife. I was like, they just celebrated this year is 10 years of his business being successful. So that was, I'm seeing someone hindering. I'm seeing someone who is not into the plan that has been given to me. You know what I mean? His intentions were pure and right as far as providing for his family, you know, and doing and creating this vision that was given to him. And she just happened to not be it. She wasn't it.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
blessings got hung up until he did.
But
Bronco wanted to say something. Apostle
Sure.
wanted to say something.
So
Go ahead.
I'm like,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Excuse me, how I'm looking or whatever, because yeah, I'm not feeling well. I was just reading like your comments, and somebody said you can't allow anyone to stand in your way,
Mhm.
but that's true if you're single. You know what I'm saying? If you're single, you can't allow anybody to stand in your way. But when you're married, you can't think like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
two
You
people.
can't
Mhm.
sit there and be like,
Next question.
I'm getting ready to do this with or without you. That's
Yeah.
and you know this is
hmm
just me being spiritual who I am. That's why so many marriages are cursed
Mm.
because when you marry,
two becomes one. You don't have to be religious to know.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? That's when you take your vows. It says when two becomes one.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
if you're trying to operate as two individuals and not
Mm.
becoming one,
Right.
you curse your marriage,
Mm.
and then you wonder why things ain't going right. You keep hitting your head against the wall. That's the reason why. That's why you're no closer to
Correct.
your vision than she is to her vision. You know what I'm saying? That's just me speaking what the Spirit's giving me. Like you cause your marriage to be cursed because the whole point is y'all two are trying to become one. And how can
Right.
two become one if you know what I'm saying?
Unless
Like
they agree, they gotta
yeah,
agree.
unless you agree.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
know
they
what I'm
got to
saying?
walk. They got to walk. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Together.
And it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
All right.
it's
So,
kind of like my wife
hey,
said.
Hey,
Kayla.
Smack. Hey, Peach.
What's going on? I'm the one that
What's
put
going on?
the response in there, what he just responded to. I have been married. Yeah, I have been married. I had a great relationship. And for me, yes, you do have to, like I said, you have to communicate with your partner. But if that's not the right partner for you, no matter how much you communicate, you compromise, it's not going to work. And someone said that
Right.
God has something. I'm not an uber religious person. I'm more spiritual. She's the uber religious one. So if your paths don't align and you're stating, someone said that God has created this path, gave it to you, you're supposed to walk in it. How dare you allow someone to stand in the way? That is not your partner.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not.
correct.
I agree.
That
Yeah,
is
because
I agree.
that's the question I was going to ask. I mean, if it's anything other than marriage, then when you find out someone is trying to hinder you, when do you cut it?
so. I'm gonna break this down to you, and I tell my wife this all the time. God gave you signs before you married this person
Oh
or you
yeah,
got in a relationship. You chose yourself because that's why you have a. It's not a coincidence or a self-conscious. Okay, let's not get spiritual. Okay, because this is what I do every day. Let's not get spiritual. Let's break down to the natural side of life. Okay, so you meet somebody, but then you keep having these coincidences. You keep having these conflicts. That's common sense that God gives you. That's not the one.
there you
But
go.
you yourself say, okay, I feel this little thing or whatever. Like young folks say, I feel this energy that's negative, but I don't care. I'm in love. I'm gonna keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So then 7, 8 years down the road that you're miserable as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 7 years, somebody gave you a sign. I tell my wife all the time, even when you have, unwedded, unwedded women with kids, there was a sign before you had this child. You just not paid attention to it and did what the
Didn't
heck
pay
you
attention.
wanted to do. So now this kid that you got to raise 18 years with this crazy person, you already had a sign. So now you got to deal with it. But then let's get spiritual for a second. God don't make you no fool. So you can't keep dealing with the abuse. Okay, he gives you an exit too.
Yeah,
Right.
way of
But it's up for
escape.
you to take that exit. But most
Mm-hmm.
of us being humanistic, we don't take that exit.
Mm-hmm.
Like my cousin always says something, good guys finish last. And literally when I drive the bus, I be looking at people and females together. They love getting cussed out, beat up, choked, whatever. They love it. They love the dope boy that don't have no job. But then you got a brother that might not look the part, but got a full-time job, credit 700, 800,
They don't
got
want
a
to be with
house,
them.
not an apartment. Don't stay with their mom, but don't stay with their
Mm-hmm.
kinfolk and them and their uncle and them. But they got their own. They don't want that.
They don't.
But
Yeah.
then, oh, he cute. I want to have a kid. But then they'll be the main ones that be out in the world saying, "Ain't no good men out here."
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's
we call them creatures of habit.
yeah. That's
That's
it.
it.
It's called insanity. You
Creatures
keep
of habit.
doing the same thing over and
Yeah.
over, and then when the energy per se, or the thing above give you a break in the cycle, guess what? You don't take it.
Yeah.
And you go right back
Yeah.
around in that 360. And you keep doing it, and then
It's a cycle.
yeah, like that's the human side of things, if you want to
Yeah.
say.
Smack, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, in all the relationships that I've been in, this is the first one where anyone has ever supported my vision, my dreams. It's always been me supporting my, other half. And I've never been married, but I have been in relationships for a long time. So in this current relationship, there's such thing as, and I wish all relationships would do it, is communication. If you don't, there have been some that she does not agree with, you know what I'm saying? But she broke it down and explained it to me. Maybe I'm not the business savvy person. And here we are getting ready to invest thousands into my vision, but it's not making sense. You see what I'm saying? It's not like the support isn't there, especially when it comes with answers and questions. And, you know, to show you why it's not going to work. Well, let's try it here. So, I think in a lot of relationships that I hear, people I know when I'm out here doing this work in the community, husbands, wives are wanting to start businesses. People are getting tired of working for other people and they want to have their own businesses. But like I tell my friend, like you got to break it down to your husband so that he understands, because once you say business, and if y'all already struggling, he wants to understand, how are we going to do this and still take care of our kids? And that's when the communication part comes in. Sometimes, and this isn't me bad mouthing any woman, but a lot of people that I work with in the community, they don't think it all the way through before they put it out there. And I feel is that when you come to your other half, you need to think it all the way through, because you've been with your other half. You know the types of questions they're going to ask. You know where their mindset is. It has to make business sense. And for your other half, they may be thinking, because I always tell her, whenever you're doing business out here, WIFM, what's in it for me? Have all that. I've been doing that for years. What's in it for me? Is it going to take me away from my household? Is it going to take me away from my kids? What's in it for me if I'm getting ready to put in all of these hours? You see what I'm saying? And I just wanted to share that. I am a big believer on communication is key. And like she says, I love the Lord. I love God. God is my everything. And she's more spiritual, but I'm into the realm. So everything that y'all saying, I can relate to. And I appreciate it. And I wanted to say, Mike, you're awesome. I would love to have a one-on-one with you, brother. Not
Anytime.
else.
Anytime.
To have a one-on-one with
But
you.
look, I want to say this though too. I like what I can't. What is it? Kim Yada's husband said.
Apostle.
A lot of times, people do because we don't know who we are. We don't invest in personal growth, so we make all these crazy decisions. But then it's people that are wise enough to know who they are, but then they grow. Sometimes you could just grow out of the relationship. And there's nothing, wrong with that either. It's just,
Yeah.
time to move on. You grow up. You want different things.
Yeah.
Your childhood plays a big part in that and what you dealt with. And that is for sure, because just for me, and if I look at my track record of marriages and relationships, because I did not have what I needed growing up, I just put up with stuff, which hindered me and hindered me. And it wasn't until I recognized, okay, there's something wrong here. I need to do what I need to for me to get on the other side of it, to be strong enough to say, okay, no, I'm not going to deal with this. Okay, I got to be, because it wasn't that I wasn't seeing. I saw the signs, like Apostle said. I saw the signs. I saw, and I did it anyway. I married anyway. When I clearly, like, when I got married the first time, my ex-husband, he went to jail the 2 days before we got married. While he was incarcerated, I had then it was pagers. I had his work pager. So he got a page. I called the number thinking it was somebody from work or something, let them know what was going on. No, it was another female who told me that she had met him in the club. And I said, well, do you know that we're about to get married? She said, he told me that y'all had a child together and y'all were just living together. Excuse me, ma'am. In 2 days, I'm supposed to marry this man. Now, I, being young and naive, not being taught, not being having that I needed, I could have said, done, I'm not doing this. But no, I did not. I married him anyway and took what came with that. It was a 4-year marriage, short-lived, but I did that. I have the signs, even at the wedding. So many things happened at the wedding where I could have said, you know what? And it wasn't until afterwards that God showed me, I let this happen. I let this happen. I let this happen. You didn't see any of that. So, okay.
So that's permissible. It's not his perfect will. That's permissible. He do have free will.
And
he ain't going against
wasn't going to just come down and say, no, don't do this. I'm showing you the signs. You're not going to get it. Okay, well, you go ahead. And when you get tired of this, then I'm going to move you on. Yeah. So we have to be mature enough and to recognize those signs and to walk with them, because now I have a no tolerance policy. It was foolishness, bye, and I will block you in a minute, and you're done.
Hey, you see how much he loves us? He'll just let us do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Listen, God is always showing us even the things that we cannot see, the things that may not even be taking place in our very household. God will, I don't know, some of us can hear from God, some of us can't. And then some of us, even if we can't hear from God, sometimes God speaks to us through other people, television shows, music. I mean, he's spoken to me all kinds of ways.
Correct.
And a lot of times we kind of just, went ahead and did what it is that we wanted to do. Or sometimes we're like, well, wait a minute, it doesn't look that way. So maybe I didn't hear that correctly. And then later on, God will show you. So I feel like as we're praying, I feel like he's always showing us. But again, it's always up to us to really take that move and move.
Yeah.
And what I'm also learning as well is, although those past relationships, it wasn't very favorable, it taught us a lot of lessons, and everything still worked out how it was supposed to work out. The person who didn't want the vision, okay, they were not in agreement with the vision. Okay, you went ahead and you did that vision. Thank God they were not. They didn't align themselves with that vision, because legally, then they would probably still be attached to the vision, right? So I think that thing just totally works out how God wants it to work out. I was sharing that with Mike this morning, because in the past relationship, I wanted us to get a house. And, we were come to find out we were not on the same page about that. And I was very heartbroken about that. But eventually what happened was, I found, later on, God blessed me with a house. And I was very surprised about that, because that's something that I thought that I could never have. He helped me get a house through the first time home buyers program. Now, when it was time to sell the house after I moved to California, they were trying to, even though we lived together, we were not together, they were still trying to hold on to the house. So legally, had they been attached to the house, then I would not have been able to get rid of the house. So God knows exactly what he's doing. I just think that it's so important for all of us to pay attention at the right time and just really surrender our will to him.
Yeah. And one thing that Peach said too, I think that Peach said that was talking about personal development. Was that you, Peach, that was talking about that? So yeah, so we have to grow. We have to do what's necessary to mature more, to be more aware, to be more keen to see things, because you can't stay. If I had stayed the way that I was, like, I wouldn't be where I am. So we all have to do that. That requires a daily process. Oh my goodness, this is good. All right, who's
So-
next? Who's next?
Well, being comfortable is something that a lot of people, seek. You know what I mean? That comfortability.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Growth really makes you very
Yes.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it was actually towards the end of summer, so like late August, beginning of September. I had an event that I needed to do, and I had, like, when I say an abundance of basil in my backyard, it made 0 sense. And I happened to come across this TikTok reel that was like, everybody has got you, picking your basil the wrong way. Here's how you do it, and it will continue to flourish literally 12 months out of the year. So I went through, and when I say I had these leaves that were almost as big as my hand, like they were huge. So I'm over here thinking I'm doing something by, picking a couple leaves here, picking a couple leaves there. 2 days later, I come back and it's like 5 leaves in the space that there was just one. Now, when I pruned that basil plant the way that the guy had instructed in the video, when I say what I thought these little 5 leaves that were coming in the place of the one, what grew out of that was even more than those little 5 leaves from before. So now I'm over here like, you know what? We are so scared to do the pruning and to do the growing that we are literally keeping ourselves from flourishing even more and, having more for the harvest, and are scared of, well, what happens if this is cut down, or we've got to cut this, this part off, or even, with the flowers, we've got these beautiful flowers here. Yeah, cut that. If you cut that flower, it's going to cause the plant to produce more flowers. If you leave that flower right there, it's going to look pretty for a minute, but then the whole thing is going to die. Why? Because the entire plant is putting all of its energy into that one place. At some point in time, it's got to end up being severed. So if you can't do the growth, if you can't, as Smack was saying, be open to even have communication, or even to be able to hear. The difference between your relationship, Smack, and a lot of other ones is that you're willing to hear what your partner has to say. You have taken the ego of it
And
out.
that's the key
And
right there.
Exactly. It's not that what Peach is telling you is pissing all over your vision. It's she cares enough to say, you know what, babe, love this. This sounds great, but this part ain't it. And when you can take your ego out of the situation and be like, okay, cool. So then what is it? Now that gives Peach an opportunity to come back and say, okay, well, this isn't it, but I think that maybe if we try this, or let's go talk to someone so that we can get this going. That's how the photography business is working. You don't need to know how to take pictures. That's his vision. That's what his gift is. But because you can be able to hear from him, sometimes you can hear what he needs and he don't necessarily know what that is. But now you can be able to go get that for him, which is going to allow the business to be able to flourish. So once you start taking the ego out of things, I think you can be able to be less of a hindrance on either end. And that's what I think honestly stops growth in relationships. It's ego.
Morgan, when you preaching that
That's good.
When you preaching that Sunday, Morgan?
Yeah, you did that.
Girl, that pruning
Look, this
thing
is 5 years of being married and doing 2.5 years worth of serious therapy when it comes to just myself. You know what I mean? And that's why I really, it resonated with having to do that work on self, just like you were saying, Stacey. Because for me, I'm over here thinking, I can point the finger all these times. I can be mumbling under my breath about all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, you're right. We can't control anybody else. We can't make anybody else grow. So at this point in time, the only thing you can do is work on you.
That's right.
And bring the best you to the situation. Once you figure out who the you is, that will be able to show you even more whether or not this is an aligned path or
And
not.
take your vows seriously, guys. For real. Like my husband knows about me.
So that's what I was getting ready to
He knows everything about me. I know. You get what I'm saying? We put everything on the table.
Yeah, that's exactly what
There's nothing hidden,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting ready to say before we get off. Like I hear the word growth and I hear the word mature. And I hear a lot of men that be dating or whatever, and they, I don't want to hear about her past. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear you slept with this dude. I don't want to hear that. But that's how you know if you matured and you've grown. Because at first, when
there you go. That's correct.
You know what I'm saying? I was trying to talk to her about it. And she was like, I ain't getting ready to tell you that. So I just prayed about that thing. And then,
Look, I got 3 baby daddies.
Yeah, you need to know that because we're not doing this.
Okay, choices I made. Help me, Lord.
Look, the men are trying to bring you in a place of comfort where you know you can be secure.
Right.
We're not asking you so we can go, are you serious?
Yeah.
We
I mean, I understand now,
but then
we
No, and also,
we ain't gonna let
can y'all
nothing
hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
No, y'all pretty much the same. But when you talk about your past like that, I mean, that makes that make your other half feel comfortable to come talk to you about anything.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
When you sit up there, you learn one another. When you ask about her past, or if you talk about who she slept with or past relationship, that's letting you know what you should not do.
Yes.
Or at least what
That's
comes
part
to the
of
table.
maturing. Just like you said there, Apostle. That's part of maturing. Yes, when you put everything on the table, that just, that let them know, boom, okay, I could come to you, I could talk to you about anything. And it's just like when it comes to, what I'm saying, with your success and when it comes to your success or when you're trying to do something in, business wise, it's the same thing. And see, that's one thing I love about April. When I be sharing things with April, she's very open. When she shared things with me, I'm open as well. And a lot of people, and this the kind of relationship, even though we are not married yet, but this the kind of relationship that I've been looking for. A woman that understands my profession and I can understand her profession. And see, that's what I hear everybody saying. Yes, that communication is a must. If you got a spouse that is willing to work with you and support you with your vision, and then you turn around and support her with her vision. It's a team effort. So no one should hinder either one if they work together.
Yeah. There's a level of vulnerability that's there for you to really bare your soul, to be able to bear what your vision is or what you've been given. That's a very private thing.
And
we don't just talk to anybody about that. You don't just tell anybody what your vision is. There's a lot of people out here that'll be praying and plotting on the demise of that. But to be able to have
someone on your parade.
Exactly. To be able to have that conversation. I was like, that vulnerability, that's what allows you to be able to grow. That allows that other person to see, okay, this is what someone's bringing to the table. Like you guys were saying, we put everything on the table. I remember when I first got married, I had said to my husband, I was like, listen, we come from two completely different backgrounds. We have a lot of things that are very, very similar, but two completely different backgrounds. So at this point in time, I'm going to take my whole bag and I'm going to dump it out on the table. I need you to dump your bag out on the table too. Let's sort through this stuff. What is it?
Sorry about the miscommunication, y'all. Sorry about that. I keep dropping it for some reason.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Morgan.
What we want to put, what we want to take from my bag and put into our bag. What do we want to take?
There you go. That's the key word right there. Our bag. There you go. Correct.
Exactly. And that's the bag that we're sitting around and now we're carrying. We're not carrying around any extra baggage. But guess what? You got to put it out on the table and sort through it first so that you know exactly what you want to take, what you don't want to take, what you want to deal with, what you don't want to deal with. And sometimes it's not until you get into these real committed relationships, whether it's business and or personal relationship, that you start to find out even certain things about you or things that you didn't think that really affected you. But now coming to the table and now you're like, oh shoot, I thought I'd handled that like years ago. And here are you
there you go. Correct.
That. Can your partner, and we were saying that was one of our other he said, she said, can my partner handle my extra?
But see, I like
Yes,
that.
I remember that. That was good too. That was very good.
Yeah.
Was a
That
good
was
show.
very good show.
I like that because the key word when you do this, the key word that a lot of us miss when we put it all on the table is deliverance.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
When you put this out on the table,
There you.
you
Mm-hmm.
break stuff that
That's
she didn't
right.
even know she had, or
Right.
you didn't know she had. Because now that you know, you can
You got
pray.
that right.
You can pray and ask God, "Hey, help me fill this void in her area. Help me fill this void in his area." And that's
There
the
you go.
that's the
There you
maturity
go, Apostle. There you
that
go.
everybody is talking about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of us go in. I ain't getting ready to tell. I'm gonna tell her what I want to know, and that's it. Or I'm gonna
Right.
tell her
Yeah.
what I want to know, and that's it. But
And that's
then,
where you mess up at.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Hold back. But you know,
mhm,
we do God that way too.
yeah,
Yeah. I was like, but at the same time, if it's going to hold back, a lot of
But you
that
can't hide it from him.
is not that
Okay.
safe space. You know what I mean? It's not that
Yeah.
safe space that Michael was talking about. Like, if you feel like you've got to hold back, that's because you don't feel safe enough to be that vulnerable and put all of that stuff out there, whether it's for fear of judgment, whether it's for fear of, I don't think you can handle this, or it's one of those things like, the other gentleman was saying, Kenyatta's husband, sometimes we've seen the flags and we know that we are literally asking a goldfish to climb a tree. And we are sitting here looking because we know that that's physically impossible. But yet
Right.
we want this person to do the very thing that we know that they're not even capable of doing. And yet we're still trying to force it like some Cinderella slipper.
Smack.
Yeah.
You want to jump in there?
Yeah, I wanted to say something. We're getting ready to celebrate 5 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And in the first, I'm going to say 3 years, I held us back because I didn't see what my mate, saw as far as the businesses. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see it. But for me, she has children. I don't have any children. I just got nieces and nephews, and I adopt the elder community kids. They're my kids. So what I wanted to say was what she was seeing, I didn't see. So I didn't, as a partner, give my full 100. So money was wasted. But had I been there in the capacity that I should have, and it comes back to what you were saying, April, about past trauma. We have to deal with things in our youth or our past trauma so that we can see clearly. And it wasn't until I did a whole year of that, dealing with past trauma, dealing with it now, and now I see the big picture because my mind was foggy. You see what I'm saying? And so what I wanted to say was that I also realized I was holding my own self back. You know what I mean? So you guys have said some really great things that I'm glad that I'm working the show tonight because it's empowering me to keep moving. I leave for Ohio tomorrow, by the way, for the job. And who thought I would be doing this year and a half later? And it gives me so much energy, like positive energy to keep going. And I want to say thank you. I'm glad y'all did this show. And then I'm going to be quiet. I don't know if Pierce wants something saying. We coming back, hopping off the screen. But
I don't have a question for Pierce, though.
So,
Yeah, no, I was like, so based upon what you said, Smack, Pierce, how did you deal with seeing that you were in a relationship with someone that was holding you guys back? Because a lot of people, like, where you're just like, okay, you know what, I ain't doing this. Like, we this ain't it. Or is it like, okay, giving you grace, you got a certain timeline. If you don't see it by this point in time, then I'm going to move on. Like, how exactly did you handle that to get to where you guys are now?
okay, so now we got to get spiritual. How I knew I was supposed to stick around. For the people in the front and the back that's watching, I see things, and like you said, God gives you signs. I saw her before I met her. So when I met her, I knew who she was already, but I had to be patient. So that's why I was able to hang in there and stick it out. I mean, I saw her in the beginning, me meeting her. I know where we're going, and I know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
So that's how I was able to stick in there.
And I had to, far as for me, I went through some traumatic times, and I really honed in on God and really brought my relationship back with him. And I really told him what I needed in my life. And as you were saying before, Miss Stacy, people have to be able to understand and hear when God is speaking to them. It could be through music or whatever. God speaks to me through my stomach. And my relationship with him is so amazing. He speaks to me probably 2 times. I can feel him 2 times within a week, because sometimes, I'll be like, okay, there's this medication that I really don't want to take. And God been hitting that stomach, talking about you need to take it. And that's him. Because I'm thinking about him like, yo, I want to take this tamoxifen because of how it makes me feel. When I tell you my stomach turns and I know that's God, he's telling me, go, take it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Other situations. And I think that is so important. If anybody who's ever listening, and I just got to put this out here, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to take over y'all show, April, but it is,
No, you good.
we are in a time right now, my people, that may be struggling. You got to either change up the formula. And when I tell you to change up the formula, you need to seek God and really get to yourself and let him talk to you. Your life will change. Mine has. All within, God did it within what, hour? I mean, not an hour, a year and 6 months. See, you can't be wanting immediate change. And I don't know why I'm going here.
It's a process.
Yep. Just go ahead. Yeah.
It's a process.
A lot of people want change right away. You see what I'm saying? And you can't expect quick change if God can't see the change in you. See, our God is jealous. He's a jealous God.
Yes.
So you need to love on him, show thyself approved, read your Bible, really get in that closet, because that's what I do. That's my thing. I get in the closet, sit down, and I pray to God. There's nothing but darkness in me. That's when I really need to talk to him. And don't think like you got to come in there all prim and proper, because I say, hey, God, it's me, your baby girl. That's how I talk to him. People think they have to be so perfect, but you should thank him first before you start asking. And when you give it to God, stop touching it. If you truly give it to him, stop touching it.
Yeah.
And that's why your life get messed up, because you meddling in God's business. Once you give it to him, it's his.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, I know y'all, Laura.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I guess we'll be hearing you Sunday.
I have never done this. I'm telling y'all right now. And that is nothing but God
you can't help
me right
that.
now, because there's someone watching the show or going to watch it later that's in a relationship, whether you're married or in a committed relationship, that's going through something. If you feel it's going to be a problem, before you open your mouth, talk to God, have a relationship with him, and he'll give you all your answers.
And sometimes, some people don't need to do all that talking. Some people could just, like me, listen.
Yes.
They wait for the downloads and they'll see it. Like I always see my life in a clear picture. So yes, God does talk to LGBT people.
Yes. That's the other thing, and I appreciate y'all having, and I love how you put it out there, April, no judgment zone. I appreciate that, because that's the only way we gonna, LGBTQ people like myself, we're gonna feel comfortable coming into these spaces and speaking our truth. You know what I'm saying? Because I got testimony over testimony how good he been good to, how good my God been to me. And people get mad because I say my God, because he's mine. That's how I look at it.
Yes,
because that's he's mine. I just say my God. And they're like, why do you say my God? Because it's my God. He takes care of me. You don't know where I've been.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And you said
Uh-oh.
that this is funny. You said, I don't know why I'm saying this. I've never done this before. There are 3 prophets on this line. You can't help but be that way when there's 3 prophets on this line. So just to let you know, that usually happens. But what you said was very powerful because and Jackie says it on here. She says, we live in a microwave world, but we have to learn to wait on God. We do. And in the interim of waiting, there's something that we can be doing. That's something you can do. Work on yourself, personal development, personal growth, whatever that looks like. Strengthen your relationship. So whether it's a marital relationship, whether it's a partnership, whether it's a business relationship, you have built yourself up and you have grown and matured so that you can see the red flags or warning signs from the beginning and you cannot even get yourself caught up in that. That's the problem for me. Now, I can't speak for nobody but for me. That was my thing. I had not matured. And although I was matured to handle my business and take care of my kids and do all that, I had not matured when it came to who I was and when it came to relationships. And so then I would end up in these toxic, dead end, not unfruitful relationships because I had not done the work on me. And it wasn't until I took that time and said, you know what? I know I want this and I know I'm going to be married one day. Let me just focus on me. And I did that. And you do the work and you wait on God and you allow him to bring people into your life, do those situations. But what I won't do is allow anybody to hold me back. You will not. There was one, and I'm telling all my business, but there was a guy that I got connected with here. Now he's here in Texas, and he used to be a minister, and he was a youth pastor. And so we were having general conversation, and I'm very observant. I pay attention, and he was like talking about he wasn't ever going back into church again. I was like, okay, you want nothing to do with the ministry no more. He's like, oh, okay, I'm in ministry, so I'm listening. A few days later, I said, you know what? I want to clarify something. Now, you said you don't want anything to do with ministry no more. Did I hear you correctly? He's like, yeah. I said, oh, okay. I said, you know what? Because my life is going in that direction and you don't want anything to do with it, then I know this is not going to work. I said, you're a great guy. I appreciate meeting you and the opportunity to have some conversation, but I already see that we're going 2 different ways. So instead of me saying, oh, let me try to make this work, no, because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hinder myself. So then I can't blame him for hindering me. I blame me because I knew from the beginning and I chose to get into it anyway. So for me to go ahead and say, you know what, you good. I'm good. I appreciate it. And it was cool. We ended amicably and that was it. We went our separate ways. No love lost, none of that. So we have to get to that point to where we can speak up and we've matured to get there. So we sometimes hinder ourselves based on our own decisions. So Mike, you got anything
eventually
else?
You was going to try to make him fit in anyway.
Yeah.
And at the suffering of me. And what I have, and it would have hindered me and what I got going on.
Yeah, you done frustrated yourself trying to make that square peg get into the round hole.
And I did that. I did that for 12 years, and it was exhausting mentally and emotionally and financially. And I was like, I will never do that again. I won't. So I know how to say, you know what, this isn't going to work. I appreciate you though, but that's it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Any last remarks from any of our guests? This has been amazing, y'all.
Y'all done dropped some knowledge on here. They done preached and and I had 3 of them on here preaching.
Preaching and prophesying.
Listen, I just really hope that someone gets something out of this, and if nothing else, if it doesn't help them, it's food for thought. So I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate everyone's point of view and being able to share, whether it's from just, like I said, thought process or from actual life experience. It's these kind of conversations that are necessary for us to be able to have so that we can all be able to grow. Because at the end of the day, I do believe that we should not be forsaking the assembly, of people that are together. And it's together how we grow. It's together that, we be able to be our best selves. And, if you align yourself with the right kind of people, these are people who can be able to say, April can say to me, Morgan, nope, that wasn't it. And although we just have a friendship and a sisterhood, this is someone that I know honestly cares, that's, opening up and saying, listen, hey sis, listen, I hear you, but that ain't it. Or that's not where you're going. Or I know that's not of God. So, sit and pray on this to be able to get us to, another place. So I appreciate you guys in doing this. This is
that's good.
I was like, this is so great.
Y'all need to do one on that. How much constructive criticism can you take?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Ooh, Morgan, write that down. Peach is like, oh God, not that one.
I can take it as long as you're not hollering and screaming at me. And the field that I work in, I can take it as long as you're not hollering and screaming. You start hollering and screaming.
Now, you talking my language there.
Because God
I'll slap out.
me. You know what I mean? God don't holler and scream at me. I'm not gonna take it. If you're gonna give me some criticism, let's talk about it like adults. Don't sit here, holler, scream. I've been there. People think they're giving you some goodness and they're hollering and screaming.
Yeah.
Old man show up.
Yeah.
I was definitely that old man. I'd be over here just yelling because I'm frustrated. And my frustration is like, how do you not see this for yourself? Like, that's why I'm coming over here. So now I'm over here like, so what is it me or is it you? Like,
no.
So yeah, this is gonna be a real good one next.
Look, you can tell when Morgan go in because her eyes get big.
Yeah, the eyes. But me, you start raising your voice, you take off running. I'm out. I'm go outside, go on the deck. What? Go sit back on the deck and chill. What? And then come back, give you a timeout, and you didn't even know it.
Yeah,
deal with it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we're gonna talk about those timeouts too, because honestly, I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and it was that, that's what she does, and her and her husband end up getting into even more of an argument when she does that. And I had to tell her, I was like, well, listen, coming from a person where just someone walking away triggers some abandonment, you might have to say something ahead of time. Like, hey, you know what? This is going in a direction I really don't want it to go in. So I'm going to take a breather. I'll be back. And then we can kind of continue this.
I just say I'll be right back.
She's not so many words.
That's the cue. I'll be right back.
The checkout.
Yeah. But even still, that I'll be right back is not, I'm leaving and this is not resolved. Or you just feel like, it's just, okay, fine, this is over. I'm done with you. And I think that's where it comes from.
Well, we will definitely make sure.
Hollering and screaming. I can't. But you holler and scream. Yeah, I talk. I talk louder, and I told her there's a difference between screaming and talking loud.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the difference? And she knows.
Yeah, I want to know the difference.
I want to know the difference.
Tone.
Used to anyone talk. I come from a house where everybody actually just talked, and the loudest thing you heard was a laugh. No. So when you start getting loud, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
I come from a very loud family. So yeah, I feel you. I'm like, you need to hear the tone in my voice. That will determine whether or not I'm yelling at you or I'm just talking loudly.
Yeah. She's a city girl. I'm from the country. Literally, worked on the farm, everything. So like, I truly am a country girl. You go down to Sussex, you know what I'm talking about, Morgan. Lower Shore, Delaware. That's us.
Sharon is on my page. She said, if you are from the South, we talk loud.
Yes.
Well, city people are desensitized. Like, it's so much loudness and stuff going on that you just don't be loud. It's like it's no reason.
They got to talk over the train, plane, all
we just like, yeah. Why are you yelling? Just say what you want.
Are you from the city?
We can work it out.
We I should do a show on city versus country things that people do, because
Yes.
I'll say something and city, and this, you're not the only person. I got a couple of the city friends, and I'll be like, "Did you hear what I said?" Yeah, I said, "Okay, we can do that." I'll be like, "Your mouth didn't open."
No, she wants to say loud.
No,
I say yes. I heard
That
you.
happens in my house all the time.
Yeah, but I'm
she's
not
thinking
loud.
a train coming through here. Or
No,
something, so
I'm
she
not
thought she
loud.
said it.
That might be a good topic: a country and a city person.
Yeah, they say country mouse and city mouse. You know what I mean? How do they coincide? Y'all done brought up some good. I'm so excited. I can't wait to the end of November.
Yeah. There you go. And December. All right, y'all. We have come to the end of yet another phenomenal show, phenomenal podcast. Thank you so much for everyone. So the Massies, Mike and Stacy Massey, we thank you for Apostle Reggie and Prophetess Kimyata Sparks. We thank you for Jason being on. Oh my goodness. Like, I think this is the most we've had on.
Yeah.
Thank you for Peach and for Smack coming on. We are just honored that you would come. I think the topic and the conversation was way more rich than I expected it, and way more in depth, and I love it. So I even took some stuff for myself, as I always do. Now, if you are a female entrepreneur and you have not been interviewed on our show, my question to you is, why not?
Exactly. You ain't been in our inbox then. Come on.
So you need to either inbox myself, or you need to inbox Morgan, or send something on the House of Peach page so that we can get you on for a Tuesday. Very laid back. We want to hear about your business. We want to hear about what you're doing. We want to hear about all of these things. We want to highlight it. We want to connect you. Now, Frederica, that was on a few weeks ago, that did the juice, I have purchased some of her juice. And let me give a shout out to Frederica Thomas, because those juices that I bought were bomb. Oh my goodness. I never had beets before in my life. And so I ordered the Gimme a Beet. Very
Amazing,
good.
right?
Very, very good. So we want you on our show. We want to interview you. We want to have a conversation with you. And then too, just remember, the last Tuesday in every month is our He Said, She Said. And looks like we're set for November and December.
Yep.
So we already know what we're going to discuss. You all are welcome to join us on the He Said, She Said as guests. You can come on for a little bit. You can stay on the whole time. It's your choice. No judgment zone. We have fun. We give our opinions. We discuss. Everybody is welcome to do that. We thank you all for joining us tonight. We had a great time. Master, did y'all have a good time?
Yes, we did. We really did. Thank you for having us.
I love this couple right here. I just want y'all to know.
Y'all my new favorite couple too.
All right, folks. So until next Tuesday, we're on every single Tuesday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:15 p.m. Central, and 4:15 p.m. Pacific Time. You got all these times. You're going to be on with us. Share it out. Let somebody know. Subscribe to the page. We want you to keep up with what's going on with House of Peach. We're not just on here just to be talking. We're dropping some good information. We're connecting people. We're inspiring people. We are motivating them. We're encouraging them to be better than they were the day before. I know I feel a little bit better, like I'm on the right track. I don't know about y'all. I'm on the right track for my life, and I just got more to do. So Zoom, all right? So that's what we're going to do. So we'll see y'all next week. Have a great ending to your week and a wonderful weekend. And look for us on Tuesday, because we'll be back here on the same platform. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, one more juicy. Coming up. Yeah.